Well, welcome back to 4th and 3 Dudes. We're here for episode 13, coming at you live up here when we just got power back here in Peachtree Corners. I'm Chris Nama. Got my co-host with me. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, gentlemen.
Good, Cord.
I'm Cord, and I am in the Great White North. It's freezing up here.
It looks like it, brother.
A.K.A. Roswell.
New Mexico.
Roswell. Well, down here in St. Mary's, where I am, it's going to get down into the 60s. So, maybe
snow.
pull the pullover out just in case. But so I'm getting ready to RSM Classic this weekend, volunteering on Thursday up in St. Simon's. I have, as a volunteer, get 2 tickets. I can't use them, so first listener out of 1, you want them.
First one in the live chat to hit them up gets it.
It's like a $75, $100 value. Plus, you get to see me if you go on Sunday.
You gonna sign it?
Sure.
Why not? Why not?
Lessons of value, but I'll sign
it. No, man, you're about to again have your doctor's appointment. Be able to be out there on the links again.
Well, yeah, I can't play RSM Classic. You have to be a pro for that, and I'm just trying to get cleared to swing. I've been putting for a month. I can't stand putting anymore. I need to swing. So tomorrow, by this time, hopefully, I'm coming back from the practice range with 3 iron, 6 iron, 9 iron in hand. We'll see.
All right.
Speaking of surgeries.
Who uses a 3?
I'm coming off of mine.
Yeah.
Name of what you got coming up. Let's talk old man talk. Get it out of the way.
Man, we don't got to get that. We can bring that up on our pre-playoff show, hopefully. But I'm getting my knee replacement done in December. We can go more details on that. I can have X-rays and everything. We can make it our
call it
infomercial.
Tendons and playoffs.
There we go. All right. Well, go ahead. Well, what you drinking tonight, Bern?
Oh, I've got toast. Doherty left this here Georgia Florida weekend. Basil Hayden toast.
Nice.
It is a nice little. It's so choice. Highly recommend.
How about you, Cord?
I don't remember seeing that there last week, Bernie.
It was right next to your ice machine. That being said, you can have a.
Oh, you distracted me.
You distracted me with the ice machine. The pretty little things. Oh, the lava cake stout, the Aldi special.
The chocolate lava cake stout, my winter warmer.
Nice. And how much is that at Aldi?
$8.99 without a coupon.
Oh wow! For a 4-pack?
For a 6-pack.
For a 6-pack.
We're getting Aldi down here in January.
Nice.
Oh, you guys are moving on down.
Yeah. What you got, Nama?
I'm going with a Redbreast 12-year single pot still Irish whiskey. My buddy John Rossini. Shout out to John out in California.
Cheers, dudes. We're all over the place.
We are, man. We got things coming from everywhere. People giving gifts and all that. So, but anyway,
I think they want to be on the show.
Well, they do. Well, again,
I doubt they do.
That's from a few years ago.
That's doubtful.
We got our first special guest last week. We're going to have to see about lining one up or seeing if he wants to come back.
That was our second special guest.
We do, yeah.
Oh.
More on that later.
Oh, very well.
Ainsley was first.
Oh, that is true.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Very sorry.
In
Ainsley.
Person.
Very sorry, Ainsley.
Speaking of Ainsley, this is my best Father's Day T-shirt ever. I wonder if Brisket is thinking of me.
Nice. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into the games from last week. Cord?
Georgia. They did it.
Okay.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
Let's go right into it.
They got a slow start. I was like, oh, here we go again. 10-0 in the first quarter, and then it's tied at halftime. But thankfully, D shut them down, and I think Beck's doing a lot better. And I was thinking of calling you guys before the game, like that week. It's like, why didn't Bubba just have Beck run a lot since they don't have any running backs? And he hasn't run much this season. But I like the fact that he ran the ball, and he ran aggressively. Didn't look as afraid as he was in the previous games. but running back was hurt and still having drop pass problems. But other than that,
not as much. But yeah.
I wasn't worried the whole game. I was like, well, just taking their time.
Well, yeah, Tennessee tends to get off to a fast start, so that wasn't really surprising. And I thought we adjusted well, and like you, Cord, I wasn't too worried when we got down, but yeah, I wasn't impressed. It was a team win, and that's what we're kind of used to seeing. It wasn't on the level maybe of what we've seen, but I mean, when Brett Thorson makes the game-saving tackle, I mean, we would have been down 14-0, and probably, I won't mention what we've been doing, but it wouldn't have been good. But I think that inspired the team. I think Beck's run inspired the team. Beck's, play overall inspired the team. And, it's just, it makes sense when, the quarterback can trust the offensive line, and then the targets can trust the quarterback. And then it just falls down there from coaching. I thought, Bobo had a great game, and I wasn't surprised because offensive line protect well, and that's where it all starts.
Yeah, no, they did. I mean, I guess the only thing that was a little more unusual about the game this year is Tennessee has been a really slow starting team most of this season, so that gave me a little bit of pause initially. But I mean, again, it did harken back to the way that our games with them have gone over the past few years, where they did jump out on us, get the one big play or over the top to get the touchdown and get out to that lead, and then we settle back in. But yeah, that was the really good thing with the defense. They had no explosive plays. They had nothing that was over, I think 17 yards was their biggest play, or at least in the passing game for sure. Sampson's run might have been bigger than that, which that dude's legit.
Yeah, that was like the only two. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we did. I mean, again, I think it's going back to, like you talked about, that run that Beck had, which was right after the Lovett play on the free play when we got that 30-plus yard gain when they jumped off sides, and Lovett made that great catch and cut across the field right at the end of the first quarter. And then we had the incomplete pass, and Beck had his run right there at the start of the second quarter, and then the next play was a touchdown to Delp. I mean, when they did that and seeing Beck's attitude, he was doing the do-si-do with freaking Tate Ratledge after.
I was about to say that, yeah.
I mean, he did that after that touchdown pass. It's like, I mean, again, he was feeling it. He showed the biggest thing. He showed emotion on the field, and not just being down or whatever. I mean, it seemed like he was more interactive, more with the guys. I mean, he was doing the freaking finger sniff, whatever thing after he made that run for the touchdown. And yeah. I mean, he was more into the game. It seemed like he had a lot more energy. I mean, again, we had those 2 3-and-outs. So, I mean, again, you're holding your collective breath, but I mean, yeah, it was a great game, especially the second half when the defense shut them out.
Yeah, that's a great point because, going back to Beck, as we've alluded to, as Tanner mentioned last weekend, he's not the quarterback that we can just throw on the field and has all this emotion into the game. I think he has to be, has to have a supporting cast. He has to have a play calling that, kind of helps warm him up. And we all have that coworker that is, not the way we want them to be, but they can be who we need them to be. And that's who Carson Beck is. He's not who we, he's not a diehard Georgia fan coming in from like Stetson was as a kid. Mm-hmm. He is who he is. And like Nama said, if we can get that supporting cast around him that's doing what they need to do, and he has fun and doing the, line dance or the, do-si-do with his, lead tackle. I mean, that was great to see. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, he looks relaxed, and that's what I want of him because, as I said, he threw 3 picks against Florida. Mm-hmm. And when they trotted him back out, that's when I knew he's our quarterback, win or lose. And we got to do our best going forward. And as you said again, Nama, the defense, the second half, I mean, Tennessee did not even sniff the end zone. It was like I said, I didn't have any show notes, but I did go back and watch most of the game yesterday, and the defense was just incremental, like Michael Williams driving on the ankles. It was small things that they were doing that made the difference in that game, because they could not overcome the deficit, and it wasn't a great deficit, but the defense was there and they stood up.
Yep. And welcome back to the field, Smile Munden. I mean, goodness, having him back.
He absolutely one of them, and pass and run and rush.
Yeah. I mean, again, we had 5 sacks. They had none. We had an extra tackle for loss in there. I mean, it was just a great total team effort by the defense.
Well, it was a good job by the offensive line.
Yeah, the offensive line played well.
They were charged with that, and I think they responded. And they're still got some help things, but that like Cord said, that's where it started. You had to have an offensive line that's going to protect, because Tennessee defensive front they're good. I mean, they may not be Ole Miss good, but they're good.
Yeah. Man, I had a thought. It just went away from me. Goodness gracious.
It'll come back.
Yeah, I mean, we can hope. But yeah, I mean, other person to give the big shout out to is Mike Bobo. His play calling. Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things where again, especially when Beck got everything going early, he was able to settle down, but you could see him back there in the pocket. I mean, he was setting, he was moving, he was going through his progressions. You could see each one, and he was moving through them quickly, but he was very decisive with what he decided to do, which is really good to see. And Bobo called a lot more misdirection. A couple of those where that touchdown, the second touchdown to Delp was beautiful. The way everything started flowing to the right, and Delp cut back across to the left and got that ball in the end zone. I mean, it was just good to see. It was a really good mix of play calling. Frazier ran hard. I mean, again, I think our offensive line's doing a lot better still at pass blocking than run blocking, at least right now. I don't know if that's just a product of our running backs or it's a combination of things still, but I was a little sad. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a mixture, I think, because Ainsley, and you guys had the chance to go back and rewatch the other day. She was texting me as she was rewatching about Nate Frazier and how exciting he's going to be to watch, going forward. And there were times where we both agreed he was dead in the backfield. I mean, there were people breaking blocks, like you said, Nama. They're better at pass protection, maybe, but he had blocks that were just breaking down. He just somehow got back to the line of scrimmage and then got another yard. And he's proven himself to be a 3-down back, and that's what we were wondering if he could evolve into be. And then all of a sudden, Florida game, he had to be that guy. And it's good to see that we have him. And then luckily Cash Jones was able to come in, because he came in some third and long some situations where we needed him to pass block and be a extra receiver if necessary. But Nate Frazier has the skills.
Yeah. And I think Chambliss got in there on that last touchdown. I think he was lead block for Frazier. So having somebody on the defense step up there and there wasn't Pegues or whatever getting in there and blocking. He made a good lead block for Frazier to help get him in that end zone for that last.
And that's not something I saw when we were watching Saturday night, but when I watched the replay, I was like, oh yeah, he's right. That's Chambliss.
Yep.
That's not Cash Jones.
Yeah, but I thought it was Cash at first. Thought it was Cash at first too. I think the announcers did initially, but then they switched. And they said something about it being Chambliss. But yeah, I mean, it was a great effort, and loved Kirby's comments after the game and everything, talking about the whole what everybody's looking for in this playoff committee stuff, and we can probably get into some of that later too. But yeah, it was a good game. Good game to see, and especially with everybody I talked to that was there, for the most part, they liked the fireworks, except for when they started raining back down on them as confetti. 8 in a row. That's right. 8 in a row.
They should have had the Lane Kiffin fireworks smokescreen.
Yes. We had it for a little while.
With the squirrel.
You can't get our squirrel.
Yeah, no. Tennessee doesn't have the squirrel. They just have the guy going down. But anyway.
Yeah. Oh, that was.
Yeah. Overall, it's a great game. Got back on track. And I think this allows Kirby and the team to get some sense of a team unity and going into the last stretch and into the playoffs, and that's what we needed for this team, to get their identity and going forward. Yeah, we'll see how long it lasts. Yep. Hopefully the whole way.
Yep. All right. Well, except for the Dylan Bell injury, which hopefully is going to be able to not be super bad, but because we need him back on the field because he has been, like they were saying, he's a true Swiss Army knife for us, being able to do running, be able to receive.
Yeah, and it may not be as bad as we originally thought. So, and also it seemed like last week this time that ETN might be out the rest of the season, but it sounds like he might have a chance to come back. They're just being precautious, which is what a lot of these players come to Georgia to be protected and make sure they're okay to play. And that's what we hope. We don't want Dylan Bell out there too soon, but sure would like to see him soon.
Yep. Hopefully this game against UMass is not going to be one that we need him for.
So. Right.
All right, Cord. Well, the Beavers had a game too. You got your report on the Beavers?
No, they didn't. Man, that team was favored by 3 points and ended up losing by 28. And Air Force only had two wins all season. We started our third string quarterback just to try to shake things up and ended up with 175 yards in offense opposed to giving up 410 yards on defense. It's interesting that the Beaver football Twitter is just kind of slowed to a crawl, and now everything's switching to baseball. But yeah, it's rough. Honestly, I watched the first half and then went and made pizzas.
Yeah.
So I couldn't watch it. It was just nothing was happening. It was just like the bad news, not the bad news Bears, but nothing was going right.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the wishbone that they weren't used to, but I mean, gosh, we're supposed to be a running offense. And our leading rusher was our third string quarterback with 22 yards. So
what is the short-term and long-term future of the Oregon State Beavers, would you say?
Short-term,
this season,
well, if we went
forward,
out, we're bowl eligible, and we'll take first in the Pac-12. We got to play Boise State and Washington State. Long-term, gosh, it just seems like, and I don't know if it's because of what happened last year with all the talent that got just washed away and our coaches got washed away. But I don't know, from the outside, it just looks like they're a Midwestern Conference team.
Okay.
And not a dominating one. So I hope that changes, but they attract some good 3-star players that they're able to build up into 4, but we'll see. The time will tell. The future will let us know. I'm not sure.
I was going to say that has to affect recruiting and transfer portal adversely affected.
Well, I mean, think about if you go and sign on with Oregon State, no big schools look at you, you walk on or something like that, and you became a stud. Junior year, someone calls on you, starts throwing money at you.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, it's just, I hate to say a stepping stone, but I mean, that's what I'm seeing between the Big 10, Big 12, SEC, and then all the other conferences. So I don't know. We'll see. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be.
But
hang in there.
Oh yeah, I'm right here. I switched my drinks. We got our new sponsor, Chick-fil-A.
Filet.
Shout out to the Goose for my peppermint shake.
Nice.
And if you are in the drive-thru and they ask for your name, if you mention 4th and 3 Dudes, you get 2 free garden herb ranch dipping sauces.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's our sponsor.
Only at the Roswell location when Lucy's working.
No, everywhere. Tell them the Goose sent you.
You have to be emphatic.
Yes, you do.
No, my dad said. Oh, well, that's good to hear.
How about the Gators?
Man, that was nice. I mean, hey, we had our guest picker believe in them last week. So Tanner said that he was thinking about that when freaking Lagaway came back in. He was.
Is that who he picked?
Yeah.
Yep.
That was his lock of the week last week.
Well, he's not here to get his rookie trophy.
I know. He's undefeated. But
he'll be back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good game. It was
tied at half. It was tied in the third quarter, wasn't it?
But even then you could tell that Florida just had what they needed to pull forward if only they could pull the trigger, and sure enough they did.
Yeah.
Lagway, I mean he's a good kid.
Yeah.
He's not 100% though, right?
He was close to 100%. I think he was ready. He went through warm-ups a week before, so
I heard there's something wrong with his legs are scrambling or something like that.
This is hamstring.
He broke his hammy against us, or he pulled it. But you're Mr. Hammy. Yeah. You can let us know how quickly you can come back.
I did that coaching first base. What are you talking about?
That was your ankle. You didn't pull your hammy. You twisted.
Well, they're all connected. The leg bone's connected to the elbow.
Yeah, the big question is if he goes this week against Ole Miss, and then he has Florida State, so basically has a week off before the bowl game.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see, because they got to travel down to Ben Hill Griffin. Ole Miss does for that to see if Gene Shortware and cousin Bill and family going to be there, pull them Gators through maybe.
Yeah, all the Florida losses have been to Miami, A&M, Tennessee, Georgia, and Texas.
Yeah,
so it's not like they're losing to Vanderbilt.
They had an incredibly hard schedule too. I mean, they're number 2 strength of schedule in the SEC, I believe, behind Georgia, of course, was from what they calculate now.
I'm going to get Mount Val in here.
Hey, you got to play with it.
LSU had 50 more yards in offense. They have 12 more first downs than Florida, and the time of possession was 42 minutes. LSU, 18 Florida.
They just didn't do it.
But LSU has Brian Kelly.
Yeah, they do.
And he sucks.
Because he's going to talk Southern to you and be right there with you, buddy.
He's not good for morale. He's not a great coach. And
he doesn't.
Is glad he's gone.
I haven't been in his locker room, but he doesn't seem like a player's coach to me.
Oh, you think?
I'm just saying.
Not saying, but I'm saying. But yeah.
So that was a great game.
He seems more like an a-hole executive in the front office.
Yes, definitely.
But the other game I thought Oregon was going down to Wisconsin.
Oh man, what a heartbreaker.
Yeah. It was a heartbreaker for me because I decided
twice.
But yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those.
Boise State almost beat them.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those where it still is the thing where, I mean, they're undefeated and everything, but I mean, how dominant are they really? Because Wisconsin got thrashed by Alabama, has lost big to a couple other teams. I think did they get beat by Nebraska too?
Ohio State almost beat them. I think they're like another Texas, where they look great until they run into someone who's just dominating.
Yeah.
But, I mean, gosh, they've had 3 close calls this year.
Yeah, but they managed to hold on. But Texas didn't look great against Arkansas. They won the game by 10. But I mean, I don't know. It just felt like Arkansas.
Let's be honest about Texas. They haven't looked great except against Michigan.
They are the Miami of the SEC.
Oh yeah.
That's I don't like comparing the SEC to SEC.
I'm right. That's why.
the relative Miami, not.
Well, let's get into it. I got to post tomorrow. If you look at the college football playoff standings, it's clear they want 4 SEC teams, they want 4 Big Ten teams, and then they want Notre Dame, Boise State, and I'm forgetting somebody.
Colorado, probably.
So they're not. Yeah, they don't like those teams. They don't like Indiana, but I imagine Indiana's going to get in above somebody that deserves it, and that might be, an Army. It might be, I don't know who else, but it's a weird thing to look at. When I go through the whole thing, and what we have is just a bunch of teams they're making speculations about, and the fact is, I love I would love to see Tennessee get left out, but the fact is,
they're on the bubble right now.
The fact is, Tennessee probably, if they do get left out, would be in favor of Notre Dame, and I would laugh at that. I don't agree with that, but I laugh at it, and it's a weird. I mentioned it last week on the podcast. It's weird to not know who's going to the SEC championship game. We won't know maybe even after this weekend. And it's a weird season because years before we could pinpoint, okay, well, these 4 teams are likely in, but then we have these other 2 teams, and now we have 12 teams with 15 or so that are deserving, and the committee is not very consistent, I'll say.
Yeah,
it seems like they don't take into account strength of schedule. When
left last week on 12, and then left out of the playoff because they're at 12, and Boise State comes in.
So you're telling me that Penn State...
We beat Tennessee this week, and then we're left at, we're 11?
10.
I mean, we have the hardest schedule of anyone. And we have 2 losses, both on the road, both against teams that are probably... One that's definitely going to be in, maybe in the SEC championship game, and one that it may be in the playoffs. So... I don't know. I don't see the reasoning, but there is no reasoning.
No, hopefully it's going to get a little bit clearer. It's going to take these next 2 weeks and to again establish who's going to go in the SEC championship for sure. But even from there, it's going to be really interesting to see if the teams go to the championship games, especially in the SEC, if they end up getting that 3rd loss, and it's only because they played in the championship game. If they're then going to get left out, which again goes back to
probably, it's probably unlikely because it's probably going to be Texas and Alabama. So Alabama, like you said, it could be. I don't think Texas will lose to Alabama, but maybe they do, and Alabama gets a 3rd loss. But at that point, I would say Alabama deserves to be in, but that's not our decision. So.
Yep, and Big Ten guy being in charge of the whole thing, a Michigan guy.
Yep, like you said all along, Nama.
There's no way Penn State, Indiana, or Miami should be ahead of Georgia in the playoffs. Are you saying that they're a better team?
Penn State sucks.
Yeah, again, their schedule. They haven't had a chance to play anybody either. But the games they've had have been close. But there's still just a whole lot more parity where I don't know. I think it really is on any given Sunday thing right now, or Saturday, excuse me. Just because, I don't know.
Yeah, there is parity, but Penn State had a chance at home against Ohio State to score a touchdown. And you know what? They didn't do that.
Right.
So, I'm sorry. I'm sorry the rest of your schedule sucks, but, Indiana, their best win is against Michigan. And I'm sorry, but they don't have Connor Stallions anymore. So, the rest of your schedule sucks. So I think I would expect the committee to make this as broad as possible because this is the reason they expanded to 12. But I still expect 4 teams from the SEC to make it, and I think Georgia will be one.
I think Georgia's in a good spot as long as they win out. I think they are better served being in the position they are as opposed to being number one with that big target on you. They seem to play better being disrespected and kind of being not underdogs, but not coming in with kind of like what they did in Texas.
Yeah,
I think I think Georgia. The question is, can we possibly rise to hosting a game? We have an outside chance at SEC championship game, which I would prefer. The only way to guarantee you're going to be in is to win the conference championship.
Yeah,
and I've said that along, but that doesn't seem likely we'll be even getting in. So maybe we can host a game, but the cards have to fall the right way, and that's just out of our hands.
Yeah. Yep. Just got to sit back and again make sure these next 2 games go according to the script as we want them. So, I mean, with the craziness, even from last year, Alabama should have lost that damn game to Auburn last year. So, it's one of those things where it'll be so apropos this year if Auburn finds a way to do it. Speaking of, we'll get into that when we talk about this week's games, but the one other game from last week was that Mizzou South Carolina game. Damn.
That was wild.
Mizzou came all the way back, got there, took the lead, and then gave up that long drive in the last minute of the game. But South Carolina, man, there is another team that right now I don't think a whole lot of people want to play because they got a pretty good defense and they're scary with some of their players too.
Yeah, I took South Carolina to cover and had no qualms about it, and thought when they were up 21-6 that I had in hand, and lo and behold, Missouri finds a way to come back. So
lift the burden, baby.
Another good game for Missouri. They're not a great team, but obviously they're a good team.
Yeah. All righty. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the locks of the week from last week.
All right. So what we have is I guess we gotta start with Cord.
Again?
Cord had Boise State minus 13.5, and they won.
By how many?
More than 13.5.
I don't know, but then enough to make you 10-1-1.
21, maybe they won by 21, I think.
Nama took Oregon minus 14. That did not happen. Sorry, Nama. So you followed at 7-5. I took the Dawgs minus 10, and they won by more than that. So I improved to 7-5, tied with Nama.
We're tied, baby.
But we have our only undefeated champion on the season, Tanner, who Nama alluded to, took Florida minus 4.5, and Florida won by what? I forget how many. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Tanner is 1-0, undefeated.
Even a blind squirrel finds an acorn.
So that's where we are going this week, and I did not do any research as far as.
Oh, I'll give you one.
This week's game.
I'll give you a gimme.
Take it, Cord.
For you, take Wazoo plus 13
over the Beavers.
Yep.
Oh.
You know what?
I'm not doing that.
It's not personal; it's business.
It's not personal; it's business. Yep. Talking about lines, Texas A&M going to Auburn, and they're only favored by 2.5 points. What did they know?
Auburn's getting ready to upset Alabama and kick them out of the playoffs.
I know, but because Texas A&M, they're the ones they got the clear shot. Do they still have a clear shot? If they beat Texas to get to the championship game, I think.
Yeah, they both only have one loss in the conference.
Right. So that one's crazy. Ole Miss favored by 10.5 over Florida
10.
Or you had it at 10?
Yeah.
It's 10.5 on ESPN. Texas up by 20.5. What do you got? 20 over Kentucky?
It is.
Hey, give us some lines. I need some lines. I don't have them pulled up.
I'm giving lines, but Cord's having to give his version of the
Mississippi's still minus 10.
Mm-hmm. Ohio State, Indiana was 13.5. That's what
Penn
I had.
State's minus 11.5. Indiana plus 13. Ohio State.
Army, Notre Dame was 14.5. Went up was what I saw it at.
Georgia's 52. Tennessee's minus 42.
I'm going to take the Texas A&M, given the 2.5 at Auburn. That just seems like a sucker bet, but which means Auburn's probably going to damn win the freaking game. But
well, you need to pick Auburn when they play Alabama.
Yeah, not this game though. I'm gonna
A&M minus 2.5 over Auburn.
I'm taking that one. Take it to the bank, baby. We need to start doing a lock of the week parlay, although that wouldn't actually do very well. We've not all been right a couple of times this year.
Yeah. All right, so who does Ole Miss have?
Florida. 10 points.
Line?
Yep.
10 points.
Minus 10.
All right.
Lane hasn't let those guys take a day off. No vacation over the bye. I mean, they're like Georgia. They're a must-win situation. Lagway is not 100% with his legs. I just think that the Ole Miss D-line is going to cause problems for him. And Trey Harris is finally back after 6 months out, it seems like. But and again, Lane's going to try to make a statement for the playoffs.
Yeah, I got Ole Miss.
You got Ole Miss.
Who do you have? Nama's got A&M.
Yep.
I've got A&M.
A&M minus
2.5.
2.5. What do you got, Cord?
Ole Miss.
So both of y'all took Ole Miss?
Ole Miss. Minus 10. All right.
Speaking of ACC Sham Conference, you hear the Pitt coach, Pat Narduzzi. I'll say this again. The ACC from top to bottom is the best conference out there. Every weekend, anybody can beat anybody. The ACC top to bottom is really good. And then Lane Kiffin says he texted that coach and said, go play at 100 Sanford Drive. then say your league's the best.
Man.
Lane, such a troller.
He is. He's a master troller.
I mean, Narduzzi didn't say anything that was inaccurate, except that they were best conference. I mean,
no, except I think what he said is they can all beat each other.
Right.
So
that doesn't make it the best conference.
The Mountain West can all beat each other.
My point tomorrow in the post is going to be that obviously Big Ten and SEC are going to get 4 teams in, and that leaves Boise State probably is the add-in, and then
until Oregon State dashes their dreams the last week of the season.
You got Colorado or BYU, and then you got SMU or Miami. I mean, that's a big fall down from the top 8 teams. So, I mean, my point will be this could be a big shakeup to where they just shake out some good teams that should be in it, like Georgia, Ole Miss. Who knows? I mean, you don't know where they're going to decide in the end, but I hope they go with the best teams and keep Georgia in it, because I think we're going to win out, and I think we're going to avoid I always want to go to the SEC game, but I think we're probably going to avoid it.
I think Georgia can beat those top 4: Boise State, Oregon, Miami, and Texas.
Well, like I said earlier, I think we're coming together. I think we're starting to see what our team can be. If
When's
we can
NTN coming
maintain
back?
that momentum,
season?
Yeah, we could make a run. What do you say?
NTN's out for the season?
I don't think so. It looked like that last week, but he might be back by Georgia Tech or the playoffs.
That's weird because Georgia has always just been 10 backs deep, it seems like, in the past.
Well, even with them out, I mean, you had Frazier. He's a 3-down back now. And he's not polished at 3 downs, but then he has Cash Jones on 3 and longs. And then we had, what was his name?
Robinson. We're talking about this week?
Robinson could be back, but then, last week we had the kid.
Yeah.
Doesn't Holyfield still have a year left?
No.
No?
Hopefully we can bring Zamir White back. He's not doing very well in the pros. I had him on my fantasy football team. That wasn't good either. He needs to come back.
Oh, no.
Needs to come back and play here. But, I mean, yeah, we should take care of business this week. Let UMass go and get their $1.9 million paycheck for coming to the game. I mean, they just lost their head coach. Head coach got fired. Got a new offensive coordinator.
For scheduling all these games?
Well,
would they play Tennessee too?
They played UMass.
They hosted Missouri.
They hosted Missouri, and then they played against Mississippi State. They actually
trying to get into the SEC.
They put up 20 points on Mississippi State. They only got 3 on Missouri. I still don't know how Missouri got roped into going to UMass this year, but
idiots. They belong in the Big Ten.
Well, anyway,
they need to be in the ACC. They dominate.
They would.
Yeah, ACC.
But anyway,
ACC Midwest.
All right. Well, Beavers got a chance against Wazoo, baby.
There's always a chance.
So you're saying
the Beavs.
Just like Tyson's against Paul
Dawgs
this past week. Goodness gracious.
Well, I think there's a contract stipulation in his contract where he couldn't knock out Logan Paul.
Man, that was tragic. I needed to be buffering a little bit more, especially when Tyson was interviewed by his son. Goodness, that was not pretty.
Glad I didn't waste my time.
That was not pretty. But anyway, all right. Anything else for the good of everybody, or?
That's it. Except go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Oh, miss.